This isn't just another video. This is a divine moment. And you didn't stumble here by accident. Your spirit was pulled here. Because deep down, something inside of you knows your life is about to change forever. Let me say it plainly. You are not ordinary. You are chosen. And when the chosen ones are called, it's never loud. It's spiritual. It's soul level. If you're watching this, it means the time has come for your awakening, elevation, and transformation. This is your sign. The rapture isn't coming someday. It's already unfolding. And you are one of the 1% who were always meant to rise. Before we go deeper into this life-shifting message, take 10 seconds to do 3 powerful things that align your energy with this calling. Smash that like button, subscribe, and help us reach 1,000 awakened souls. Drop the number 55 in the comments. It's not just a number, it's a cosmic confirmation that you're in sync with this divine timing. You'll know if you're meant to hear this, because your soul will lean in, your heart will race, and something unexplainable will just click. So if you're ready to finally remember who you are, keep watching, because nothing will ever be the same again. A sacred upheaval stirs beneath the surface of what once felt like a still life, soon to erupt without ceremony or warning. A monumental shift approaches, cloaked not in spectacle, but in a quiet knowing that interrupts ordinary time. It's not a forecast, it's an unfolding. What once felt permanent will dissolve like ink in water, and what awaits cannot be undone. There is no sign, no clue visible to the naked eye, but destiny doesn't announce itself with noise. It arrives disguised as stillness, only to unveil magnitude. This is not a common change. It is a divine overturning, a moment long encrypted into the architecture of your existence. As the old framework dissolves, something wild and sacred begins. This is not the end or even the beginning. It is the ignition of what always was, waiting patiently to rise beneath your awareness. A quiet current begins to swell, invisible yet unstoppable. It doesn't ask for permission or arrive with sirens. It simply begins, and when it does, it shifts everything. This isn't a myth or dream, it's an active truth, pulsing just beneath the ordinary. Not everyone can perceive it, but those attuned to a deeper rhythm will feel the rupture as it opens. What once seemed unreachable now stands inches away, and the call, silent but certain, rings through places you never expected. It's not a message to decode, it's a reality to step into. Without countdown or confirmation, the unraveling will begin, and in its place, something far more infinite will take shape. Not an escape, but an elevation. Not disappearance, but an arrival. What was familiar will no longer anchor you, and what is to come will not be shaken. You're here for a reason. Hit subscribe now and step into your destiny. Big things are coming. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet field at dawn. You can't see the sun yet, but something in the stillness tells you it's already rising. That's what this moment is. It's the hush before the shift, the breath before the breakthrough. And whether you can fully sense it or not, God is already moving on your behalf. You didn't get here by scrolling. You didn't click this by accident. The Spirit led you here because you're being positioned for something divine, something irreversible, something only the chosen were ever meant to carry. Some transitions don't show up with flashing lights or booming voices. They whisper through divine nudges, through that feeling in your gut that something is about to happen. This isn't a minor detour. It's not just a new chapter. It's a whole new book, The scenery might look the same for a while, but what's happening beneath the surface? That's where the real shift is. And when God flips that internal switch, baby, there's no turning it off. What felt like delay will suddenly make sense. What looked like loss will turn into alignment. And you'll realize you weren't being held back. You were being prepared. This isn't about polishing up your life or fixing your flaws. This is a divine stripping away of what no longer fits the version of you that's been called to rise. It's not self-improvement, it's sacred release. The old labels, they won't stick anymore. The old cycles, they're breaking, whether you're ready or not. And when it happens, when it happens, it won't creep in gently. It'll pour in like sunlight through a doorway, left wide open. Everything you thought was normal will feel too small, too noisy, too temporary. Because once the shift begins, it's not just you that changes. It's your perception, your posture, your purpose. You won't chase approval anymore. You'll walk like someone who knows they were sent. You'll move like someone who understands that heaven itself appointed this moment for their becoming. Let the world keep spinning in its noise and distractions. You're being called to step into something higher, something truer, something divine. So don't be afraid when things start to feel unfamiliar. That's how you know the transformation has begun. You weren't meant to stay in the shallows. You were made for the deep. And now, finally, the deep is calling you back. Letting go of the known often feels like betrayal to the comfort once clung to. The familiar becomes a weight when the soul is summoned elsewhere. And yes, stepping into what defies logic can feel like abandoning the only map you've ever used. But when the veil lifts, what seemed like loss is revealed as liberation. This crossing isn't about departure, it's about emergence. No longer defined by fear or shaped by limitation, the spirit takes its true form, unrestricted, unafraid, undivided. This movement is not random. It cannot be stalled, and it answers to no clock made by human hands. It's a rhythm orchestrated long before comprehension, arriving exactly when it must, indifferent to chaos, yet intimate in its precision. What unfolds is not an escape from life, but the unveiling of its purest form. Not everyone is designed to decode what exists beyond the boundaries of visible life. Only a rare few carry that resonance in their being. This alignment isn't earned through effort or achievement. It's a frequency etched into the essence of those selected for something beyond comprehension. Though the question may rise, why this path? Why now? The answer isn't rooted in logic, but in the architecture of your existence. It isn't about understanding, it's about recognizing the pulse of something far older than memory. While the masses carry on, unaware of the unseen threshold forming beneath their feet, a distinct circle is being drawn, one that calls only those whose inner world has been shaped by a rhythm not of this earth. That call is not symbolic, it is real, and it is already echoing through the silence. Moving through the unknown can feel like walking through a mirror that reflects no image back. But solitude is not abandonment, it is refinement. This path, though unshared by most, is not traveled without guidance. Every moment along it is wrapped in an unseen clarity, an orchestration that exceeds what any mind can predict. To bear this mark is not to boast, it is to remember. This thread pulling you forward isn't random. It's been tied since before time measured itself. What unfolds now is both a burden and a breakthrough, but it will never be too heavy for the one it chose. No external event defines this movement. It's a sacred sequence coded into spirit, unfolding with deliberate grace. And even as the world continues unaware, the alignment, cannot be undone. There are moments when the inner world begins to pulse with an unfamiliar rhythm, an invisible rearranging of all you thought you understood. What's happening isn't chaotic, it's precise. It's a reformation of the self at its deepest layer, not to improve, but to reveal what's been buried beneath survival. The unfamiliarity, the ache, the drifting sense of not quite fitting into your former skin. These aren't signs of something going wrong. They are echoes of something ancient being rewritten inside of you. This is not the kind of change that asks for permission. It doesn't follow a schedule or provide certainty. It arrives in fragments, quiet storms, and waves of knowing that refuse to be ignored. You are not unraveling. You are being prepared for an arrival the mind cannot define. As perception sharpens, the old frameworks start to tremble. What once seemed immovable now flickers at the edges. There is a thinning in the illusion, a dissolving of the systems and ideas that once held everything together. The outer world begins to speak in symbols, not chaos. Shifts in energy, global tremors, sudden clarity within confusion. These are not accidents. They are not random. The atmosphere is humming with signals, each one echoing a deeper call toward alignment. Dismissal will be easy for some, but truth doesn't vanish when ignored. It only grows more undeniable. What many call coincidence is actually a blueprint unfolding. A great threshold is forming, and the unraveling of one cycle is simply the breath before the beginning of another. There are thresholds that cannot be crossed by force, only by resonance. When that veil lifts, it won't be a doorway you walk through. It will be a dissolution of boundaries altogether. What once governed your senses, time, separation, the mechanics of cause and effect, will fall away like scaffolding no longer needed. In this expanded terrain, existence is not measured by distance or chronology, but by frequency. There, every interaction becomes an echo of divine harmony. Words become unnecessary. Presence becomes everything. Connections no longer hinge on roles or history. They become reflections of shared essence, transparent and whole. The illusion of disconnection fades, replaced by a vast clarity where every breath affirms your origin. Limitless, luminous, and held in a continuum of sacred belonging. This rising won't be isolated. It will bloom through many in unison, each one igniting like a spark in dry fields. A wave will move through the fabric of awareness, rewiring what it means to exist. Though each journey unfolds with unique contours, the collective hum of recognition will bind them all. A global recalibration will awaken the dormant codes within souls tuned to higher patterns. This will not be a spectacle, but a shift so intimate and immediate, the outer world may not grasp it at first. And yet, its impact will reverberate in everything, from the silence between words to the weight of light in the air. The moment approaches not with noise, but with inevitability. Delay is no longer an option. The alignment has begun. You're here for a reason. Hit subscribe now and step into your destiny. Big things are coming. Some awakenings do not begin with sound, but with stillness, an inner hum, barely noticeable, that signals a deeper preparation has already begun. This readiness isn't about tasks completed or rituals performed. It's about alignment with the pulse of something far greater. Old narratives, outdated fears, and worn identities start to fall away. Not because you force them, but because they no longer recognize you. The invitation is subtle, not to perfect, but to purify. Not to rush, but to remember. Each quiet moment becomes a doorway. Each breath, a recalibration. In this unfolding, silence holds more weight than words, and presence becomes the altar. There's no map for this transition, only the inner agreement to stop resisting the unknown. Readiness, in truth, isn't a condition, it's a surrender. And what approaches doesn't wait for confidence. It moves with clarity through those who make space for it. When the veil lifts, transformation won't ask questions. It will simply begin, rewriting the contours of awareness in real time. The body may feel it as heat, lightness, or gravity reversing. The mind may reach for explanations, but the heart will already know. This is not a shift in perspective. It is a dismantling of the lens itself. As separation dissolves, what remains is presence so whole, so intimate, it feels like returning to something you never left. The weight of old fears will drop like chains from shoulders, and clarity will no longer arrive in fragments, but as a flood. What comes is not enhancement, it is restoration, an ancient memory awakened. This shift is not earned, it is allowed, and everything that follows will mirror this renewal, transforming even the smallest moments into reflections of the sacred. Some currents move beneath the surface of reality with such force that nothing above can alter their path. This movement cannot be delayed by opinion, interrupted by fear, or reversed by resistance. It was woven into existence long before minds could name it, or voices could doubt it. The shift that approaches isn't waiting for ideal conditions, it's already advancing, untouched by the noise of contradiction. When questions rise and the unknown begins to tighten its grip, let that be the reminder. Certainty does not need validation. This unfolding isn't fragile, it's absolute. The course has been set not by human desire, but by something vast and irreversible. It doesn't pause to explain itself. It simply fulfills what was always destined. There comes a point in every sacred transition where hesitation must fall away, not through force, but through recognition. The horizon now is no longer distant. It presses close, asking only for surrender. This isn't the time to hold back or overanalyze. It is the time to respond. That inner pull, the undeniable knowing, is not coincidence. It is invitation. Let the old weights slip. Let the echoes of fear lose their volume. What calls you forward now is not a test, but a return to your truest state. And in that return, there is no loss, only a rising. Step into it with your whole being, not because you're certain, but because something within you already remembers what comes next. What unfolds now will not resemble the past. It will be the beginning of everything real. There are turning points so vast in meaning that they redefine the very shape of existence. This is not the continuation of your story, it's the unveiling of an entirely new script written in the language of spirit. What is arriving now isn't an event, it's a rebirth encoded into your design from the beginning, a remembrance that emerges not with noise, but with inner clarity. This is not about moving forward, it's about awakening to what's been waiting beneath the surface of everything you once called life. Anticipation is not needed, only presence. This is your passage, not into a destination, but into a state of being that transcends all former limits. You were never lost. You were simply becoming ready to see what had been calling all along. To be chosen is not to be elevated above, it is to be called deeper within. The path ahead is not built for display or applause. It is shaped for surrender, devotion, and truth. This mission is not measured by action alone, but by how fully one can embody what cannot be spoken. To carry this light is to remember that it was never about being seen, but about becoming a mirror for what's real. The task is simple, but sacred. To live as alignment, to walk as transmission, to breathe as remembrance. Not for recognition, but for restoration. The world shifts, not through force, but through presence. And your presence now carries the imprint of divine intent. What activates this power is not control, but trust. And trust is no longer optional. It is the gateway into everything you were born to fulfill. You're here for a reason. Hit subscribe now and step into your destiny. Big things are coming. There comes a moment when the familiar rhythm of your life is interrupted, not by chaos, but by clarity. An unseen frequency begins to pulse through your being, urging you to rise from the sleep of routine and remember what was planted within you long before the world taught you to forget. This is not a call to react. It's a call to return, not to who you were, but to the truth of what you've always been. Distractions may beg for your attention, but the signal now is unmistakable. Something greater is knocking, not from the outside, but from within. It doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for presence. This moment isn't just approaching. It's already here, and the only question that matters is whether you're willing to respond. Stepping into this threshold demands something radical. Surrender to the unknown, and trust that what you carry is enough. There is no checklist, no formula, only a willingness to follow what you feel before you can explain it. This transformation won't arrive as a dramatic explosion. It will arrive as an unfolding, slow and certain. The unknown isn't here to destroy you. It's here to reveal you. And though the path ahead may seem vast and undefined, you are already equipped to walk it. The shift will come in waves, through the way you see, the way you feel, the way you remember what matters. Every step forward echoes with guidance you cannot always name, but always feel. And in that quiet knowing, you begin to see not only the path, but your place within it. There are moments when everything converges, not in chaos, but in quiet precision. What once felt distant now begins to hum beneath the surface of your reality, drawing you into alignment with a deeper, more expansive version of yourself. This isn't about chasing destiny. It's about recognizing that it's been unfolding all along, encoded in every breath, every choice, every silent turning point. The signal is becoming stronger, the veil thinner. What calls you forward isn't demanding, it's magnetic. And in this pull, there's an invitation not to escape what is, but to remember what always was. The unseen infrastructure of your journey has been building quietly, and now it stands ready to lift you into a space that your heart already understands, even if your mind can't yet explain it. What's occurring now isn't a simple shift. It's a recalibration on every layer of being. This isn't just celestial, it's cellular. The field around you is reweaving itself, while your inner world is shedding what no longer fits. There's a restructuring taking place beyond what eyes can detect, subtle, complex, and encoded with sacred intent. Frequencies are rising, and as they do, your system is responding in kind, releasing echoes of pain, outdated attachments, and distortions you no longer need to carry. This process is not happening to you. It is happening with you. You're not a bystander to your ascension. You are a co-architect of it. And as everything shifts into harmonic balance, so too does your place within it, anchored, refined, and ready to expand into the next dimension of what it truly means to be whole. There are sacred disciplines that act like tuning forks for the soul, subtle yet powerful tools that allow you to calibrate with something far beyond the material. These inner rituals, however simple they may seem, become portals through which divine rhythm enters your daily life. The purpose isn't perfection, it's presence. In cultivating moments of stillness, intentional focus, and inner quiet, you begin to soften the static of the world and tune in to the pulse of something higher. This isn't about performance, it's about resonance. As you continue to release the outdated versions of yourself, you begin to sense the shift taking place, not just in your circumstances, but in your perception. The external becomes a mirror for the internal. What once seemed separate begins to speak to you, offering confirmation in whispers only the soul can hear. A deep recalibration is already underway. It's not dramatic from the outside, but internally, it is monumental. This isn't an invitation to escape. It's a call to descend into the truth that's always lived beneath the noise. What awakens now isn't new. It's ancient, luminous, and encoded in the very fabric of your being. You're not being summoned to become someone else. You're being returned to what you truly are. This inner rising will guide you into a dimension untouched by limitation, where presence becomes power and clarity becomes your compass. Nothing external needs to shift for this breakthrough to occur. It begins with one silent agreement: to remember. From that remembrance, a new current of reality takes hold, one where every breath affirms you are already walking in the field of the divine. You're here for a reason. Hit subscribe now and step into your destiny. Big things are coming. There are moments destined to redefine the very nature of reality, not by force, but by sheer resonance with who you've always been beneath the noise. This isn't just a shift. It's the unveiling of the essence you've carried since before memory began. The limits, once believed to be unbreakable, begin to dissolve, and something ancient within you steps forward, unhindered. What's arriving is not an escape from form, but a reintroduction to your boundless origin. The path ahead is not foreign. It is familiar in a way that words can't explain. A deep remembering is taking place, and in that remembrance, your truest nature stands fully revealed. This transformation will not be subtle. It will echo through the deepest layers of your being, awakening the clarity that's been waiting just beneath the surface. You were never meant to blend in with the temporary. You were designed to anchor the eternal. What unfolds now is not an accident of time, but a fulfillment of divine sequence. Everything you've experienced has been preparing you, not to become something new, but to return, whole, luminous, and aware. What once felt unreachable is now coursing through you. This is not the beginning of the end. It is the rising of what was always meant to shine. And in that rising, you become the living echo of a plan greater than imagination, grounded in truth and unstoppable in purpose.